Have you thought about adding a bigger rotor to the front of your bike to make it stop faster, a little stronger, maybe more stopping power? Maybe you need it because you're going on bigger, steeper trails, or you're a heavier rider like me. I weigh between 200 and 220 on any given day. So I wanted to put a little bigger rotor on the front and walk through the process, and that's what this video is about. If that's what you want to see, let's do it. Are you looking for more stopping power on your bike? You basically have two options. Increase the size of the rotor or get a stronger caliper to grab it. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Mike with 50 MTB, and I've got my new Ripley. I guess it's about a year old now. Really loving this bike, but I would like to get a little more stopping power up front. Right now it has a 180 rotor, and it's connected to these level T brakes. They're two piston, 2-pot brakes. And I don't want to change out the brakes to 4-pot, which I may end up doing later, but I'm going to try to save a little weight. And I heard something I could do was increase the size of the rotor. So I got 180s, I'd like to increase to 200s, and I've never done this before. I've never swapped them out. This is going to be kind of an experiment, and I'll take you along with me and bring you along for the ride. But let me warn you, I got to do my quick disclaimer. I am not a mechanic. I don't work for any of these companies. I don't know what I'm doing, and if you follow what I do, you might get injured or die. So this is not a tutorial. It's just, hey, why don't you walk along with me and see if I survive. Here we go. Okay, so let me show you the parts that I believe that I'm going to need. One is a new rotor disc. This old one is 180. This one is 200. These are SRAM, and we'll open up in a minute and show you everything, but I'll keep it in the box to try to keep my fingers off of the disc for a minute. If you want to know the part number that we're using, there you go. Okay, number two, we're going to need an adapter for these larger rotors. That's this part right here. So basically, this is a Fox 34, and it comes stock accepting a 160 rotor. This is a 180, so this caliper had to get pushed out this way with this adapter to get it going. Now this adapter, I believe they call it a 2P. I'm not sure what the P stands for, but excuse me, 20P. I said 2P, 20P, and I believe that this means the millimeters that it pushes it out. And you got to remember you're going from what it originally was, not what it is now. So in order for me to go to 200 from where I'm at now, I don't add 20, I have to add 40 from the base. Okay, so the base was 160, I got to add 40 to get out to here. And that's not going to be this adapter, it's going to be this one. So this is the adapter I need. We'll be playing around with it in a minute. If you want to know the numbers on it, there it is. And again, that's the adapter that we'll be adding through this process. Also, I'm going to add some new pads. That's something I actually have done. I've changed out pads, woohoo! So I'm going to add some organic pads. I tried to do center pads a while back, and it was a nightmare. Squeaky, squilly, never would set in, never would bed properly. So I'm going back to a good old organic. They bed in quick, they've got good stopping power. I know they wear out a little faster, but I've always had a lot of good luck with organics. So we're going to do that, and I can't tell if that's a number you can use or not, but there you go. So the first thing we got to do is we're going to remove the wheel and start the process. I've got a quick release here. Let's do it. And there we go. Okay, so there's not a lot of good information out there. At least I wasn't finding it either on SRAM's site or YouTube, but I did find some. And this was a chart that I found out there on SRAM, and it was helpful because I believe I've got that part there. I'm doing post mount, and it does give you some ideas on this 2-page document about how to set up like a 40P, which is what I'm going to be doing. And obviously, if you have a different arrangement, if you're moving from different post sizes, it'll give you a couple ideas of how you need to arrange this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to really look closely as to how this is set up and arranged, and then match it up to which these, because Some of these apparently have washers and some don't, and we'll figure out what we've got. So I'm going to take pictures of all the sides of this, just in case things go awry. I can just put it back to the way it was. You could probably use a multi-tool set to do this, but I've got these really cool spin doctor Allen wrenches. It's a really nice set. I use it a lot. It's just the L handle. It does have the little balls on the end for angles, but pretty cool little set. And I think we're going to start off with the 2.5. I'm just going to take out the current brake pads. They're not that old, but I'm going to put brand new brake pads in so everything starts off on the right foot. So there's a little clip here on the end. This is the bolt through. And there, it's a little U-clamp. Oh, there you go, a little U-clamp sits on the end. Now we can unscrew it all the way. Pull these babies out. I try to keep them together. We'll end up cleaning, if we reuse these, we'll end up cleaning them up really good anyway, but you can see they've got some wear. But not bad. They're not that old. They may be a month old or so. Okay, so now everything is nice and clean, nice and cleared out. There are the two pistons. I'm going to spread them apart. I know you can get a really good tool to do this, but I'll be doing it my way. So I'm going to use a tire lever, a plastic tire lever, to get in there and try to push them back and forth. You want to spread out these pistons so that when you put in the new, thicker pads that aren't as worn down, they'll leave enough space for your disc to fit in there. Ask me how I know that. Learn through trial and error. Okay, so now we're going to remove the caliper itself. I'm going to make careful review of this first, though. I don't see any spacers. So according to this, I'm looking for either CPS, a spacer between the caliper and the mount, a washer. So I should have said a washer. This is where standard where there's not, and this is where there is. I don't currently see one, but I'll keep my eyes out for that. All right, so we got a 5mm Allen wrench. Yours may be a different size, depending on what you got going, as far as which brakes you're using. All right, so this is interesting to me. It's just one bolt holding it in with this adapter between them. Large fat side of the adapter is high, skinny is low. In case I have to reverse all this and put it back in, the piston head itself is low. I just want to make sure I got the angles right, and I think we got it. Let's take it out. You can see there are quite a few washers there at the bottom. Those are for adjusting the angles of your caliper when you lock it down. We'll see that later. And there's our adapter. There's our bolt. I did not see any washers between the caliper and the adapter, or the adapter and the post on this bike, but keep your eyes open for that because you want to put it all back together in reverse. I also don't see any writing on the side of this. I was thinking there might be, I guess there's a little bit of it. There might be an arrow there pointing up, and that was the direction of up, but I don't see anything else. It's either been worn off or it wasn't there. That's all I can see is just a little slight arrow. Don't know if you see that, kind of pointing up. All right, I'm gonna let my caliper hang there. Maybe clean it up a little bit. I'm gonna use some isopropyl alcohol. This is also known as rubbing alcohol. It's really good for cleaning up parts. It evaporates fast. All right, so next we're gonna put on this adapter. This is a 40P. All right, so I'm going from 160 to 200, so 40. In the box, by the way, what's in here? There are some pieces of paper, but there really aren't anything. They just tell you to go to a website and there's a warranty, but there's no directions on how to do this. What else in the bag? In the box here, we got 2 more bolts with washers, and we have the adapter itself. So on the adapter, you can see it definitely is a different shape than the original, the one that went from 160 to 180. This is 160 to 180, and this is 160 out to 200. I've been told that the arrow needs to go up, and we're 40, the little tail down here needs to go down, and so that's what we're going to try, and hopefully that works. We're going to use these new bolts to bolt it into the post, and then the old bolts, I believe, will be used to bolt the caliper to the adapter. So I believe that's going to go on just like that. All right, yeah, it should be. All right, so we'll put the bolt in the top here. Maybe. Maybe that's not. So this is where this diagram is going to come in helpful for me since I haven't done this before. I think I was about to put it on backwards. I definitely was. So hopefully you can see that. Let's try that again. I believe now it needs to go on this way. And I was trying to put it on that way. Yeah. All right, luckily the holes were different sizes or something. Something wasn't working there. Okay, now I'm going to get my torque wrench. I happen to have one. If you don't have one, you're going to have to rough it or ask somebody to borrow theirs. But I do have a torque wrench, so I'm going to make sure I do this right. And it didn't say anywhere what I was supposed to do, but looking online, I saw it was between, I believe it was 6 Newton meters was basically what it needed to be on both of these. One said between 5 and 7, and the other said 6 or 6.2. So I'm just going to go for 6, and I think we should be there. So far, I've been happy with this Pro Bike Tool set. Pretty nice, has sockets in it, and most importantly, your torque wrench with a little extender, has most of your common Allens and the Torex. And so, boom, let's give it a try. All right, so I'm going to get them started here with just a regular Allen here, just to get them down. And this one appears to be 5mm Allen also. Yeah, 5 is not that, or 6 is not that much. Good. All right, and then we're gonna put the caliper back on. The white one here was on top. Let's keep that the same if it makes any difference. I don't know, those look pretty long. I think I need shorter bolts. I'm a little concerned that these original bolts may be too long. We may run out of thread. We'll see. I don't know. You see it's starting to come through the top there, and it's not all the way to the bottom. Oh, boy. Well, that might work. Boy, this feels weird. It's like I'm running out of thread, but that says it should be okay. Well, we'll see. Might be long though. Trying to make sure that this bolt right here doesn't interfere with the post. Actually looks like it'll work, but damn, that bolt is long. Let's leave it a little loose so that we can adjust it. It's solid on there. It's not loose at all. Just looks a little odd with that bolt going so far through. All right, so I've got the 6-bolt pattern, and these are Torex. They're 25, so I'm gonna have to pull those out using a special Torex wrench. All right, there we go. We got the old disc off, the old 180. All right, so here's our disc, and you might want to know what's in the box. Well, pretty simple. It's just the disc and the bolts. So I'm going to put those on, and I'm using gloves. I'm going to try to keep the disc clean and not contaminate it. I'll clean it at the end, but trying to do my best not to contaminate it so it doesn't squeal. I don't know if you can see this, but I'll try to show you on the disc itself. There's an arrow for the rotation. It tells you to torque it to 6.2 Newton meters, and shows it's a 200 center line. Kind of hard to see all this, but an identification number and the thickness, minimum thickness, in case they start to wear down, 1.55 millimeters. Key I want to make sure is I get the rotation correct. So I'm assuming that the lettering goes on the outside and the rotation goes this way, so to the back, over the top, and forward. That's what my rear wheel is doing as I'm pedaling, so I'm pretty confident that is correct. So just going to get them tight down where we can use the torque wrench, so I'm not going to tighten them all the way. I do want to do a pattern where you're crossing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, you're crossing so that it's getting equal balance. So we set our torque wrench to 6.2. It's not much past tight. So make sure you don't over torque these things. All right, there we go. Okay, a moment of truth now. I have not put the brake pads back in yet. I'm going to do that on purpose. I just want to see if we're in the general ballpark first. Oh yeah, I think we are. I think we're going to be in good shape here. All right, but I'm going to put the pads in. All right, so here's how our pads come. So we got the pads, we got the expander. Pads are together so they stay clean. We also have another bolt. Might use this one. Might use the old one because it's silver and looks pretty either way. But here's that U-clamp. It's kind of nice. You can see that. All right, let's get it going. Looks like there's a piece of cardboard in between to keep them from scratching. That's nice. So what I'm going to do is place one, place the other. Okay, and they kind of just fit this little, it's kind of like a little fork, and it fits around the pad. So that's that gray part in the middle is the pad. Want that facing in. Okay. Then you kind of have this little sandwich thing going, so that obviously when the pistons push down, they squeeze it together, and then it springs them back apart so you can roll your wheel. Now, I don't believe it matters if you go one way or the other. They're universal. We'll slide them in here. I'm going to go with the old pin just because I like the silver color. But either one would have been fine, the old one or the new one. So the pin went in there to hold it in place. You just have to put the clip on the end. This little clip, so it won't roll, unhinge itself, spin itself out. I like to do it with the little needle nose pliers. And there you go. Okay, it's all good. Now for the second moment of truth. Let's see. Feeling pretty good. Okay, everything's in. Let's see. All right, well, it's spinning, although it's rubbing, and that's okay. We'll just make an adjustment here. So now I'm going to loosen up these and try to get them in alignment. See, that's nice and loose, a little too loose. Let's tighten it up just a little bit. I want it tight so it's on the post, but not so tight that it won't move when we do the next step. So I'm gonna go to just tight and then go back like a half turn. I mean a quarter of a turn. There we go. And that should be a little bit of movement. All right, what we're gonna do next is, if you haven't done this before, it's a little trick. I'm gonna grab the brake handle, and what that's gonna do is squeeze the calipers onto the disc, and it aligns this overall caliper unit. And while I'm holding the brake, I'll tighten these down, and we should get rid of that spinning, rubbing sound. We'll see. Now we're gonna grab. I'm gonna do that a couple times, by the way. Just saw someone recommend that. I'm squeezing the brake about 5 times. And I'm gonna hold it really tight. Line these babies up. Okay, so our battery ran out on our camera, so we're doing this again. Hope you guys appreciate this. It's like 2 or 3 times as long to try to film it, even with my crappy filming. But let's do this. Let's pump it up again. Make sure we got it tight. And let's spin it. Oh, it's still a little rubbing, but it's better. And it's just like hitting one side. I'm gonna try. Just wanna make sure my wheel is straight, my caliper. I'm gonna first just look at the disc, make sure it looks like it's spinning straight and not bent somehow, even though it's supposed to be new. It feels like it's hitting just one side. Okay, I'm gonna try one more spin here. Yeah, that looks pretty straight on the disc. And it's only rubbing in one little spot. So what I'm gonna do again is give it maybe a quarter turn to loosen it. And we're gonna start over. All right, so we loosened it up a little bit, but we wanna make sure it's snug enough that it's against in this case, the adapter. And then we're going to pump the brakes a few times, get them nice and tight, and then hold it tight and alternate as we tighten these. I just kind of go to like tight and then, I don't know, what is that, maybe barely a 16th and 32nd of a turn. I mean, it's pretty small. Just to snug it down. And we're loosening those up. Oh, we still got some drag. Well, that's pretty good. That was my 3rd or 4th attempt. I have just one little spot. Which makes me wonder if I have a bend in my brand new disc. But I think I'm going to let that go just because it might be my pads also. But boy, that's pretty darn good. I don't know if you can hear that. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this disc surface really good before we bed them in. There actually was a little bit of dirt on there, surprisingly. So minor. I think I'm gonna just let it roll and see if we can bed these things in. Okay, we're gonna try to bed in these brakes. What we're gonna do is I've got a 3-block hill here. I'm gonna roll relatively slow and easily, gently hit the brakes. Not hit the brakes, but squeeze the brakes slowly and easily until we come to almost a stop, let go, and then do it again. We're trying to do this probably 20 to 30 times is the goal. And let's give it a try. Just kind of letting some of that brake pad burn off onto the disc. We're trying not to give it any sharp, heavy pulls that would leave a large glob of the pad on the disc. And I still have a dead spot in there, you can kind of hear it clicking, but we'll try to adjust it again later. I'm wondering if my rotor had a slight imperfection in it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go back up to the top, do it again, just a little faster. All right, now we're going to do the same thing, but a little higher, faster speed. Just trying to coat that disc with brake pad. And I'm only doing the front brake since that's all we're working. We haven't changed the back brake, back rotor. So now what we're going to do is let the bike sit. Usually say a couple hours. I'll probably let it sit for a day. Let that material bond with the disc, and then we'll see how it goes tomorrow. But right now it seems to be working, which is good. Okay, so it's the next day after we let everything cool off. Now we're going to see how it does. Here we go. Oh yeah. Do a road test here before we ever take it on the hill. Yeah, looking pretty good. And that's feeling good. Feels like it bedded in pretty good. All right, cool. So we got this 200 millimeter rotor added in to the front in place of the 180. It's looking good. If you want to see what it does on the trail, we're going to do a video on that. Just go right up here. I'll try to create a card so that you can click on it and check that out. But we got this rotor installed. We added the rotor to the wheel. It went on pretty easy. We've got the adapter in place to move that caliper out. So now the caliper is in place. And currently it seems like it's working great. We still have the old 180 on the back to give you an idea of size. So that's the 200 and that's the 180. And we're gonna see how that does on the mountain in another video, but I wanted to show you, how it did here, just the process of adding that on. So hopefully that helped. If you had any questions, go ahead and put them down in the comment section below. We'll try to get you an answer. If you like this kind of material, give us a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of things like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're doing all things mountain bike here, just a regular guy having fun out there on the trails. But this was a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thanks for going along with me.